When we're kids, we're raised to think that we're supposed to control our emotions and suppress them. Especially if we're in public, we're not supposed to let grandma know that she hurt my feelings, and we're definitely not supposed to tell the truth, even though the truth is what's necessary in the moment, because kids aren't allowed to prove that they might actually be wiser than the adults they're around. I know I was very much wiser than the adults I was around, and my voice was suppressed over and over again until I became terrified of my own voice. So terrified of my own voice, I learned how to not speak. And instead of telling the truth, I told crazy, wild stories. And I lied all the time for nothing. I guess because the weight that lived on my heart needed out. But I wasn't allowed to tell the truth. So I made up stories that felt equivalent to the truth. But God says that the truth shall set you free, not bind you up. As I got older, I realized that that was wrong. That the reason that I was told to be quiet was because I was right. And what right did I have as a child to reprimand and correct an adult? I think that is very important for all of us adults to ask ourselves, why do we feel uncomfortable when our kids call us out on the truth? Because we are prideful. Because we act as if they owe us something when they didn't ask to be brought into this world. So how can they owe us something? We owe them something. We owe them a shot at this life. And it's not until we become healthy adults who've been through tons of shadow work and trauma facing that we come to terms with that my feelings were never wrong and they were never my enemy. In fact, they were actually my protection. And then I spend another 10 years embracing my emotions and harnessing them. So that instead of telling them that they're evil or that they're bad, I say, no, emotions, you're very good, but we're a little childish because we weren't allowed to flourish and learn and grow and become disciplined. So now I have to spend 10 years disciplining my emotions, re-parenting my child self. And then I learn that all along, the adults in my life were the ones who were wrong. Now, I get to be faced with an opportunity here. I can change the course of life in my kids' lives. And I can take this newfound information I've learned about myself and what it took for me to overcome those lies. And I can let my kids tell me the truth about myself. If we have an open and honest line of communication between our children and ourselves, instead of lying to us and deceiving us and sneaking around, why don't we combat our teenagers' bad decisions with, I made some pretty questionable decisions when I was your age too, and this is how that turned out for me. I don't want my kids to lie to me. And so from the outside looking in, I might look like a terrible parent because I don't ground my kids, because what difference does that make? My mom grounded me my entire life, and all that did was teach me how to be a better liar and really good at running away. I needed a soft place to land so that when I was 21 and I lived in my first apartment, I didn't crash and burn the way that I actually did. I had no idea how to set boundaries, how to pick people, how to stand up for myself, because I wasn't taught that. I was just held captive and ordered to be good, which truthfully ordered to be someone I wasn't, not allowed to be who I was, and definitely not allowed to explore life and my decisions and my friends. I didn't get to experience things like parties. And while granted, maybe I was escaping so many bad things in life, but also I waited until I was an adult and I lived out every single one of those terrible experiences. Only then they cost me dearly. I paid with everything I had and would spend decades cleaning up after my mess. Whereas my kids make mistakes, we talk them out. They get opportunities to make better decisions. But in the long run, there are their decisions. Whether I give them permission to make them or not, they're going to make them. So instead, I want them to talk to me about it. Talk to me about the drugs. Talk to me about the sex. Talk to me about the stuff that's really going on. Because then I can give you a real life perspective of what that looks like, and not from a perspective of, oh my God, let me control this so it never happens to you. But how about it could happen to you? It might be happening to you. And let me tell you why this is bad news. I promise you, it's in that ability to just let people tell me who they are with no judgment of them at all whatsoever, that I've gotten to speak life into kids while they're high on questionable things. And that's a path I would take over and over and over again, because I don't expect that I'll have the words or the wisdom to make them never do it again. But at least I have the words and wisdom and heart to let them know that no matter what, they're loved and seen, and that this is a very hard path to choose. But if you do, just like God is there to forgive you, so am I. I'm there to love you. I'm there to forgive you. And I'm there to lend you a hand and to help up as many times as you need it, because I promise you this life is about learning lessons over and over. And just when you conquered one, there's a new one. We've got a lot of generations. We've got a lot of stuff coming at us. We've got a lot of chains to break. And we live in a fallen world. So your goal is not to arrive at some perfect place, but to arrive at the solidarity within yourself, to be honest, 100% honest with who you really are. And in that way, you give space to people around you to be honestly, authentically who they are. And then you can actually love people into healing. Because as Jesus says, the truth sets us free. It does not bind us. And it is in the truth that we find God. Because all he has ever wanted was to be a good father. And a good father doesn't condemn and hurt and beat and harshen his children. A good father loves them, wipes their tears, gives them a boost again, lets them move in, helps them move out, lets them move in, helps them move out. That's the life of parenting, and that is who God is. I love y'all.